We just finished an aerial tour of Accra to inspect the flooded areas. Unfortunately, the flooding has been very extensive.
Oh, Jesus! Jesus!
Intimating kind of breakdown of the flood near course so Accra and Brano at the Abrantie. Church and you may quite fast or happen here next and Kofobians on my affected that they say rescue team council and then pneumonia there. Made updating that the bros when they be and to check it out on this particular channel. To see your president, His Excellency Prez Mahama, I'll reacted to the flood now air course of Accra now what him say yes. And no man president in good form any measures or the good form no. Be assured say he say in a serious there is no flood at ABC where you because over videos, any pictures, and you know maybe so air pop up on social media and so I know they made the updates in the bro. Moreover, no in so na to endra na so enam so amagama bi so I electrocuted ah. See an idea on so atwa na nanom e won say do made update no e bro on this video from Abrantie Kwadwo. Someone subscribe here, myself also subscribe no share video na ma onyan sa kem no follow on all social media platforms. Dino Abrantie Kwadwo. Tell after say the first update in bro on this particular channel about the flood that is here Accra no videos baby so start pop up on social media so no kwade no dey 1% first one na areho just say over videos ni din na over new man so happen in Accra dey go for bi no japade call e bi cars na call ne ade a abusua ano dey in fact here kaka
oh this is wow. And video.
The whole house is getting ruined. Aunt D, can you please give me a car, please?
What the fuck?
Oh, careful. You're tomorrow, no, so no. Hey, Charlie, I told you careful. You're tomorrow, no, so no.
I'm so scared for you. Boy, be or Baba Buani, Bema, and in your barada. You went to meet the end of this one. That time, no, it's only because you go and you put a switch in your off. Main Street, 82 blocks. No do ya now, all pointing yano. Omuye dede, ye case sometimes na electricity ko nya ma general light off. Ti ade ni si e na electricity ko no. Ma general light off. Sana de ni ko si. Obo ani wa nya wu. Nti obebo ani sister time den. Why no oba beye 7 oba ya ni ko boy na ndi 10 minutes. And again here now. When the 10 minutes. So no buy ya no catch them so much disconnection. I will be a doom and all of 1 and 10 minutes price a dozen 5 minutes cut and one the coil. Now I'm going to come and say somebody told me was or it could take not before by having. The same so man to so Maka no prayer ba ko prayer. Ya gate ya ye let was no mo nye ye. Iso to bia omo de ya politics. Enu na ma iso ni yiri ye no. Aba eba wa nye aba bi nso afa na because I was the first time I ndisi ni so aba ni. Ni nya apanda de o bia ni omo ya ma di so omo ya gata. Afiwe we dey make so wonti obi mam fie am be kan cham sam nto aba fu ametu ama no me ma trust me nyama nya na egu o me ba nyama odi ko school nya afọ kina na ba ba mi ska be njira aka che ya se ya nto aba bi nkata no mo hwe no mo nye eno ne ye ka kata no mo hwe no mo nye no mo nja politics no mo ya gata no ho na nipa nkwa hu hia
tebuso videos we mu na be pop up o social media no so no anye hu se e papa is excellent John Dramani Mahama enso eti I think say helicopter mu survey Accra land na bia flood nenso asini ade odi nkomo kakra o background but to tie nkomo na odi ni de otimi say akoye one time say odwen hu yie pa so ya country ni ma ono so o de yen check out video no.
The flooding in Accra is not an engineering problem. It is just a problem of indiscipline. It's not an engineering problem, it's a problem of indiscipline. We have drains, and everybody says, why don't you do sealed drains? But the problem is when we do sealed drains, people drink sachet water, they eat papaya in those styrofoam plastics, and they just dump them anywhere. And these plastics wash into the drain, and they go and block the drain. And so if you have to unclog the drain, you have to remove all the drain covers and clean it out. You clean it out, you cover it again. In the next 3, 4, 5 months, they have clogged again. But that is not even the major problem. The major problem is the location of Accra. You have the Kwapim mountain range, and you have the Atlantic Ocean. Before people came to Accra, you had the Lafa stream, you had the Densu, you had the Sakumo stream, you had the Kole stream, you had the Odo stream.
Today is a video I almost papa is excellent John Dramani Mahama. And also air surveyors as an check baby a flood and so see near the but o see from answer on my friends and for some money and income about this particular flood because I know them and there's all ding commoted young say yeah activities. Said in America in the past video na me say obi ohonoma imura na akoto agun so ni tenken say oto agun for the personal reasons obi so ohonoma baby nsuo na akoto no afele na dwen say ono so ebesi dan also the asisi obi because wato asase fofofo and ade a ohonoma in fact ensem no o kan bebre abusia yente kakra.
We just finished an aerial tour of Accra to inspect the flooded areas. Unfortunately, the flooding has been very extensive today for several reasons. One, the recorded rainfall today is one of the highest in several years. The Meteo are looking at approximately 140 millimeters that was dumped on Accra. Last year, the maximum rainfall was 56 on a single day. and so the volumes are much higher. And so there are many issues to the flooding in Accra. There's climate. If you look at the rainfall pattern from 2024, 2025, 2026, you see that increasingly every year we're getting more rain in Accra than we used to get. GMET say that in 2024, for a period of 30 days in June, we had 85 millimeters of rain. And then in 2025, it increased to 172. And then in 2026, for the same 30-day period in June, it increased to 333. And so the waterways are not getting chance to recover before more rain is dumped. And the wet days are more. Out of 30 days, 22 days, it kept raining. And so there were only 7 dry days or 8 dry days in June. And so that's the climate side. That is an act of God that we can't control. But then there's also the engineering and the man-made causes. That is, like I said before, Accra is built between 2 natural bodies, the Kwapim Mountain Range and the Atlantic Ocean. And before Accra was built, the streams used to flow through this plain to reach the sea. Now, the British brought the capital to Accra, and in those years it was not a problem because Accra was a very small city. But as the population continues to increase and people continue to build, it restricts the path of the streams on their way to the Atlantic. So that's an engineering problem. We need to see how to open the channel so that the water can pass. But then there's also the other aspect, which is attitudinal and human behavior. That is dumping garbage in the drains, putting all kinds of items in the drains after we finish creating waste. Instead of sending it to the appropriate place, even in the air, we discovered many illicit dumping sites where the wetlands are. People have gone to create a waste dumping ground, and they charge 20 cedis for the aboboya to come and fill the waste into the wetlands. And when it has filled sufficiently, they sell the land to people to come and build on it. And so we need to, one, look at it from an engineering perspective in terms of how we can open up the channels, but at the same time look at how we can identify all the buildings that are obstructing the waterways. We've said this many times. I'm tired of hearing it. But anytime you begin to take action and you start breaking houses, people think that government is inhumane. But when the problem arises like this flood, it affects everybody. And so all of us have been affected because of the conduct of a few people blocking the channels and preventing the water from passing. And so we'll call a National Security Council meeting. We're asking every district to identify, together with the Works and Housing Ministry, where the blockages in the channels are as they pass through the district assemblies, so that we can earmark those places for removal. We'll not only break the houses, we have to move the rubble out of the way, because there's no use breaking a house and leaving the rubble in the waterway. It's just the same as leaving the house. And so it's going to be quite a major issue in order to resolve the problem of Accra. But ultimately, the other solution will be to decongest Accra. And that's why we're planning that we move some of the city out, that is the major government departments, and then also create a new center of growth so that our people will start building outside Accra in a new city, instead of everybody looking for some space in Accra to build. So, but that's a long-term solution. Like I said, it's a 20-year project. They are still working on the designs. Once they do that, we'll demarcate. People can start buying plots. If they like, they can start building houses. We'll do the roads, bring the water and electricity, so that it eases the pressure on Accra as a city. But I just want to express my sympathy with people who have lost property. Loss of property has been very extensive, and I want to thank the military, NADMO, the police, and the Hydro, Works and Housing Ministry, and all the emergency response team, 48th Engineers Regiment, for the rescue that they did. I've seen many of the videos where people had to be carried out of their houses. They deployed their boats, and they helped to save quite a lot of lives. NADMO will do what it can to try and identify the victims and see how we can just support them in a way in the next few days. I've asked the Minister of Finance to release some money from the contingency fund so that we can do some post-flood relief for persons who have been affected. And so let me again express my sympathy, but let us change our attitude and let us find a permanent solution to this Accra flooding problem. We shouldn't become like the vulture who, anytime it is raining, he says as soon as it stops raining, he will repair his roof. And then as soon as it stops raining, he says, oh, it has stopped raining, so there's no need to repair the roof. This time should be different.
And today is the reaction. He says, John Dramani Mahama, they have go with regards to flood. I also Accra and there. I feel say put your tool and say be happen. Ama just say timi aketeli and your man so go for binum eye edisi so kwan na dey beboa ama flood so at because day in day out in now I say outcome na ekosoro turn out na ekosoro with regards to flood na dey so pete crampo Accra na say bia so be flood there and no so here ensam abusua e free over so any video no message also be commenting no subscribe no share video na ma only answer ke me from Abrantie Kwadwo abusua makra catch you in my next video. Bye bye.